Let me get this tweeted out so everybody can join in here. 1 second, please. One second. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So happy Monday, everybody. The market for a little bit had a case of the Mondays. And then they bought the dip. So anyway, guys, good stuff. This week we're going to be doing some more trading psychology. I think this is probably the most important part about trading. So I'm going to try to do more series on these, just because it really just helps, right? So when you can overcome the emotional and the psychological aspects of trading, it really goes a long way and helps us trade a lot better. So this week we're going to focus on overcoming greed, and today's topic is what to do when we want more. So before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is first we're going to take a look and see where we left off in the market here today. And then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, what might be setting up going into tomorrow. And then we'll go through the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, guys, up 9 points here today. Again, monthly chart here, again, flipped green earlier this month and still going green. Last week was an important week. We took out the bearish engulfing candle. We're starting to push up above there. We hit all-time highs today to start the week. So kind of interesting, just something to kind of keep an eye on right here is the McClellan oscillator actually dropped to the negative territory. It's at -2. So one of our big concerns, right, that we like to look at before we see any sort of type of crash mode is when it gets below the -100 level, right? So you can see for the Corona crash, once we got below there, we stayed below there for a few weeks, and then boom, we got to move down. So definitely keep an eye on this and see how it handles. It's not like we haven't been here before, but it's just something to keep on the radar as we continue to push our way up. Daily chart, again, another pretty much narrow range day. The real body is pretty narrow. We got a big dip buy off of this one, 17-point range today. I mean, it's 3 extra points in the past couple days, but still, just kind of grinding its way up, right? It makes it a tough scenario here. It's like we're bullish, but it's like it's kind of timid up here. We're not seeing like big green candles, right? Like we're not seeing like yeah, let's go, and then just kind of then drift up after that. So we did get a couple here off the 50-day moving average, but right now it's getting a little bit narrow. So one of the things we have here is a bit of a channel where it was more of a ending diagonal that we talked about last night. It's still got a little bit of an angle to it, so we'll just see how it handles here. We're just kind of staying in this impulsive channel for it looks like this wave 5 move, right? So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe you get a little bit of a push up here, and then maybe it'll start to pull back a little bit. So let's keep an eye on that going into the rest of this week. Don't forget, guys, it is a holiday weekend coming up, 4th of July coming up. A lot of folks are on vacation, right? So we're starting to see some pretty low volume. If you go to SPY, we're starting to see a little bit lower volume coming in on the but really over the last couple days. We had a bit on Friday, and then but then they pushed it up, right? And so today we got some volume on the up move here today, later in the day. So let's just kind of show you right here. Nice little spike in volume on this once we hit the lows right here, and then the volume just kind of rose here into the end of the day on this up move. So kind of cool stuff there, but not enough to really be super duper interesting on the daily chart. But we'll keep an eye on it. So good stuff there. Let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening. So we got a little bit of a drop here after hours. Obviously, this is this all-time high needs to be adjusted here to 42.82. So fresh all-time highs today on the S&P futures, and we kind of pulled back here after hours. We had a nice push here at the end of the day, and then we dropped here a little bit after hours. Not down too much, about 3 points. So we're kind of holding an old zone right here, which is basically going to be taken out here in a little bit. It was actually taken out a little bit earlier today on the up move, but still an interesting level of interest. You can see we kind of came back. We dipped here over yesterday's highs. We're kind of testing those levels right now. So let's see how that goes here this evening. Again, kind of keep an eye on this line right here to see how that holds. Could be a little bit kind of bear flaggish. We'll see if it decides it wants to come down and maybe test the 42.73 area going into tomorrow. But like we said, guys, low volume today. I mean, even the opening candle was pretty bearish. We were pretty bearish from the open. We pointed out a couple bearish opportunities in the live stream this morning. Only 24,000 contracts at the open, right? So not a lot there. But then the volume started to come in here at the end of the day, and this big pop candle right here, 24,000. It looks like here this last one at the end of the day, and an inside candle 39,000. So pretty much the biggest volume of the day came right at the end, which is interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes here going into tonight, and what kind of setups we have tomorrow morning. Again, guys, in the group, we provide an S&P futures game plan using market profile and using all these levels, so it really helps us stay focused throughout the day and the zones. So good stuff there. So again, guys, this week we're talking about overcoming greed. So we touched on this a little bit. We did some trading psychology a couple weeks ago, but I want to focus this week just on greed. And I think the reason it kind of came up today is that I was guilty of it, right? And so I mean, it's how do you get guilty of greed? You know, I'm not really there. I'm not in that state of greed all day, but you know what's an example of greed, and what do we do when we want more? When we want more, and that's really the key right there, right? So that's the essence of greed. When we're trying to squeeze more out of a trade because we think it can go farther, and there's really no indication that it is going to go farther, right? So today's a good example of that, right? So here we're in a short opportunity, obviously at the open. We pointed that out in the live stream. They were in a short opportunity down here. So why not take profit down here when we're at a bunch of key levels instead of let it pull back and maybe take us a stop out for either a less than we were making before or a more trade. Why do we do that to ourselves? What is it about that? It's because we always want more. We think we can just squeeze a little bit more out of a trade even if the chart is not doing it. And that's really the big thing, is greed is such a powerful emotion, right? The fear and greed, they talk about are two of the strongest emotions in trading. And it's hard, right? It's hard to even overcome. It's not like I'm in here, I'm like, yeah, I want to make $1 million right now, that type of thing. No, I just want the trade to work. But sometimes we want it to work a little bit too bad that we kind of we stop paying attention to what the chart is actually telling us, right? And so a couple of the big things today, right? So we had this inside 15 candle right here on the S&P futures, right? And it didn't break down. In fact, it broke to the upside with a very strong candle after this, right? And then we started to get some volume increasing on these three white soldiers right here. So at this point here, there's really, if you're short where we were earlier, obviously the open is fine, but still, even then, right? If you're short at the open, you're still holding, right? This ends up taking out those levels here at the end of the day, even though it was a generally bearish day today. So how do we do this? How do we control this this emotion of greed? And what do we do when we want more? Well, the important thing is to define your trade, right? Is to have a plan of the trade beforehand. And one of those tools that we have, one of the great tools that we have for those is setting a target, right? And sticking to that target, right? So ultimately, our levels here today, obviously we would like to have hit the value area low, but we did have a signal zone down here, which we call a support zone. It's our method of using supply and demand trading. So you could look at down here as, hey, there's a lot of demand down here. So if we couldn't break down this demand zone, what are we doing? Trying to force it to go down even more. It's not our ability to do that, right? The market's going to do what it's going to do. And that really is the important thing, is once we reach a target, and not necessarily a profit target, but a target on the chart, right? The chart's going to tell us what it wants to do and where it wants to go for the most part, right? Given volume, given intent, given candles, and given chart patterns throughout the day. So again, at this point right here, we found our target, right? We got below the target, which is even better. And instead of waiting for it to try to go lower, right? If it didn't want to take this inside 15 down, right, and tick it up, there's no reason to do it. And of course, we lost the 8 EMA. That is a key tool to use throughout the day. Definitely keep an eye on it. A lot of times it can indicate there's a trend shift, and I definitely would suggest looking at that, right? So even if you go to the 5-minute chart right here, it's not going to be as significant, but it's still pretty good here too, right? We had that inside 15 also gave us an inside 5, and we closed above these levels right here. And then we had this candle right here, which basically showed that, hey, this is time to get out of the trade. We're over the 8 EMA. There's a change of composure here, right? And so I do think this is something important to look at. To keep your targets in play to help avoid trying to force more out of a trade, right? And then potentially get in a position that could be really bad, especially if your stops are up here and end up getting stopped out of what was potentially a winning trade. So good stuff there. The other thing that we can look at too is we can use indicators, right, to help us, right? So just like a quick example, if we go here to the 5-minute chart, we can do something. We can pull up MACD, we can pull up RSI, right? These help us tell if if things are overbought or oversold. So let me just kind of show this to you here, right? And you can see right here on the RSI, and it also gives you setups too, right? So to show you that if a trade may actually be done, right? And so one of the cool things about this on the RSI today is we got oversold right here. Well, goodness gracious, that's a good place to consider taking profit. And again, like we like to say that nobody goes broke taking profits, right? So it doesn't mean you're going to stay able to trade, right? If the profits aren't enough to keep you paying your bills, but it's still better than losing money, right? So that's the idea. So one of the ideas right here with RSI, right? So one of the things you can see just right away is this, right? You can see that we had bullish divergence, right? We had a lower low on the price chart, but on the RSI chart, on the oscillator chart, we actually had a higher low, and that is bullish divergence. And from there, we actually ended up giving a nice wave count on this one. We had kind of this 1, 2 deep retrace move right here, and boom, 3, 4, 5, and ended up working our way up right here. And that is why using these tools can really help us to look to take profit. So again, combining your RSI, combining your whatever oscillator you like to use that you look for divergences on, combined with the 8 EMA, that's the number 8, right? It's a Fibonacci number, 8 EMA, to see just, hey, there's a change in composure right here. Don't be afraid to take profit, and don't get greedy, right? That's the idea. So sometimes we can think that things are going to move in our direction, like even here. We hit the overnight highs. We started to reverse off of it here with the doji. We started to get some increased volume on this candle right here. It doesn't mean that we're going back down. And in fact, the market made it very clear that it wasn't going to do that, right? So we can try to force it here. We can try to force it here. And if price is not doing it, right, we don't want to be caught in this position. So again, very, very important, guys, to monitor greed. And the way we do it, right, is we can use our indicators and we can use our targets on the trade, not necessarily a profit target, just a price target for what our setup is. And if we can't break below it, then there's no sense in trying to force it to get to the new level. So really, really important stuff, guys. And hopefully you found that helpful. We're going to talk a little bit more about different techniques for managing greed this week. And I think it'll be a fun one. So thanks everybody for tuning in here. At this point now, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. We got a few in via Twitter and via email. So Shirley sent a few in via email here. So Shirley, hope you're doing well out there. Sorry we missed you last night, but we did cover a few of your requests on the lunchtime video today. Let me get this pulled up here. Give me 1 second. All right. So you've got some great ones on the list here today. So again, very, very strong names out there. Facebook. Guys, this was the big clue right here. Why did the market go up like it did today? Facebook, right? So Facebook led the FANGs. That's the F of the FANGs, right? So why did it go up so much today? FTC dismissed the litigation case or whatever was going on against them there, right? So again, big volume, guys, definitely something to take note of, right? You got this low volume day, and then you get this candle right here over the ADMA, right? This thing was going, right? This is big news right here. And not only did it move Facebook, but it actually moved the market because other names started to move along with it, right? You had your, Apple started to move, Facebook, Amazon started to move a little bit here at the end of the day, right? So it sort of draw those names up, all the big FANG names, and really started to get things going. So Facebook strong candle today. I wouldn't be surprised that if we got some follow through on this one going into tomorrow. Let's see if they give it some upgrades or something like that. But fresh all-time highs on Facebook. Imagine that. Another one, Coin. I really like this one today, guys. Again, anybody who follows us in our group in the Bubble Report, we talked about Kathy making a comeback this morning, and she did with this Coin trade, right? She's been buying the dip on this thing. Every red candle, she's been buying it. And hopefully this time, right, Coin breaking out of this geometric line right here with increased volume could imply that this thing is ready to go higher. The only issue I have with it right now is that we have not really broken out of this range. Right, so if you just kind of go to the top of that candle over there and draw it over, we're not quite through that yet. And we've got a fresh 50-day moving average on this, so the algos are looking at that as well as potential resistance. So keep an eye on that there. Solar names really strong today. JKS, big move on this one here as I guess infrastructure or whatever. So good stuff there. Alternative energy moves. Etsy had a big day today. Nice triple doji sandwich up today to get out of the cloud. Nice move there. And Roblox, again, guys, this has been a great one too. We profiled this a couple weeks ago on the Elliott Wave show with Paul, and we had this 1, 2, 3. We talked about this as an A. You can see the little B, the little zigzag I got going on right here. Symmetrical move down to wave 4. We bounced off the 50-day moving average. We got some nice follow through there today on Roblox. So we'll see if that gets any more action here going forward. So good stuff there. Appreciate it, Shirley. Hope you're doing well out there. Otas sent a few in via Twitter. Let's take a look at these. Otas, hope you're doing great. So Square, we talked about this last night. Paul was bullish on this one, if you guys remember. And got a pretty decent move today. A little bit of a tricky wave count here. We kind of had this one ABC wave 2, and it looks like it might be still working on an impulsive wave up in the lower term time frames. So let's see if that can continue to move. Workhorse. Decent candle on this one here today. Again, the electric vehicle names, solar names, stuff like that were strong today. Not quite as strong as names like NIO. NIO is a big one that we profiled last night. We talked about this as potential wave 4 triangle. We got a big breakout on this one here today. So keep an eye on NIO going into tomorrow too. It's drifting up a little bit higher after hours. Netflix is a good one. We talked about this one yesterday too, this harmonic pattern right here. It looks like we're working on this wing, getting into the gap. I like the outside candle today. I don't like the volume. So Netflix is a tricky name, but definitely keep an eye on it to look for some viable dips on it if it wants to stay strong. FSLY, let's take a look. Possible pause day there. We had an inside up, but just kind of choppy, so a little bit of caution there. But again, names like Zoom and stuff like that, FSLY FSLY can move along with it. And Uber a little bit rough here, almost a bearish engulfing candle, but outside day for sure, but still holding the ABMA. So a little bit tricky there on Uber, but I'd like to really see it get some volume out of the cloud here on the daily chart. So good stuff there. Then Ness, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at WOW. So WOW with a nice lower shadow right here off of the 8 EMA. And again, we've been tracking this cup and handle right here. So again, we had the fail handle breakout and it kind of came back in. So let's see if it tries to get a little more energy and get going on that one. Be sure to keep bringing that one up so we can track this one. Nike, guys, I like this one. This is going to be on the radar for tomorrow. Nice inside day after earnings, very tight range at the end of the day. Look to see if this thing can break out or break down one way or the other tomorrow. It's day 3 tomorrow after earnings. XONE, decent little push right there, upper shadow, kind of a belt hold bar right there. So see how that holds. OLED, tough name to trade here, but a good move on this one. Again, some of the semiconductor type stuff, pretty strong today. OLED, likes to move with Apple, stuff like that there too. And then PAR. So PAR with a nice little breakout. We talked about this last night, and then a bit of a pullback here. So just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it holds the 80-day and the 50-day. So good stuff there. David, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's take a look at QS. So QS, I always caution on this name. I always have to caution on this name, right? The fundamentals of this company are really rough, right? I mean, they've come out and admitted, hey, we don't make money, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not really a company yet, right? After its kind of SPAC listing and everything. So I would wait and to see, with this, I wouldn't even mess with this one until it can actually show that it can make money, like without just getting, donations from like Volkswagen and stuff like that. But chart-wise, it's okay. Let's see if we can break out of this this range right here into the cloud over that line and see if we can go from there. Froggy, let's take a look. It's probably a possible double pause day right here. Big volume on Friday. So let's see if I can try to push up out of that range. And then OSTK. Again, if you're ever bored, always see what Overstock's doing, right? So Overstock with an inside day today, bit of an upper shadow. Let's see if we can try to break out of that range. Kind of a big range, so a little bit caution there. Good stuff, David. Really appreciate it. Ali Wally, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at Wish. Wish is I'm wishing this thing will get going. It's just been paused right here. I was really hoping this would be a nice big candle here today, but it left us with an upper shadow, which made it a little bit tough there. So again, still one to keep an eye on. Again, a lot of volume coming in this name, so it might start moving. Just keep it on the radar. And TTD with the follow through doji sandwich up a little bit there today. So still getting some action on this one here too. Watch this level right here. It's finding a little bit of resistance off of that guy, right? And then you got these guys up here with a gap just above there. Those are kind of the big levels that we'd want to keep an eye on here for TTD. So good stuff there. In the nest, you got IRBT, iRobot on the radar. iRobot. So iRobot hammer off of the recent lows, a little bit low volume on it, but back above the 80MA. So let's see if it can keep going. Armando, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a great weekend too. Let's take a look at another semiconductor. Let's take a look at TSM here today. Big pop out of this area right here, out of the cloud with increased volume. I think it's definitely one to keep an eye on right here. Again, the sector was pretty strong today, thanks to NVIDIA and a little bit of AMD. CI, let's take a look. Signo is a nice little curve right there over the 80MA. Good volume on Friday. Today's volume a little bit rough, but decent candle today. So see how that holds. And you got AMAT on the radar too. Let's take a look. AMAT. Let's see. So again, right at this geometric line right here with volume's not quite there to get me too super duper excited, but could be sort of this inverse head and shoulder type look on it. See if we can break out of this geometric line. So good stuff there. Messy, what's going on? Good to see you. MA, yeah. So the XLF guys, definitely keep an eye on these names here today. Got crushed here today with a bearish engulfing candle, but a lot of the banks did a lot of buybacks and dividends here after hours. So it might get a little bit of a move. It's drifting up a little bit after hours on the XLF. So keep an eye on that one there too. CCL. Nasty breakdown on this one here today, guys. Keep that on the bearish radar. Just nasty, right? So they did an offering. They had an upgrade this morning, but then they did an offering and all that stuff, and just kind of blah, right? So a little bit of caution there. Airbnb, let's take a look. Had a decent dip buy this morning. Still struggling to get over the 50-day moving average, right? So had a nice little big dip buy right there, and then just didn't get a lot of follow through today. So just keep an eye on it, see how it goes. See if we can get over the 50-day. Maybe get a little volume going through it. Good stuff there. Appreciate it. Ken, what's going on? Going to see another semiconductor. Let's take a look at LRCX here. Again, semi-strong, guys, so just definitely worth keeping an eye on right here. I like what it's doing, overall. I'm just not a huge fan of the volume. I like how it's getting out of this geometric line right here, but the volume is just like, it doesn't show a lot of conviction into it. But we'll see how it goes. Still could work its way to the upside. And ROKU, let's take a look. ROKU's still going, guys. Still going. So it's already surpassed the symmetrical move that we talked about yesterday. But kind of calmed down a little bit with spinning top. Just definitely one to keep an eye on right here. I wouldn't chase it at this point, but a good move there. Autodesk with a decent day today, lower volume. So just kind of see how that goes there to the nest. Johnny, what's going on? Let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla with an inside day day yesterday. Tried to take it up today, but couldn't do it. Of course, it started from the lows. It did give a nice move here at the open. Once it got over our signal zone here this morning, it made a nice push here to the upside, and then it's kind of chopped between zones here today. So we'll see how it goes. See if we can continue to push above those highs. It needs some more volume coming in. So good stuff there. John, what's going on? Going to see it Beyond. Big day today on Beyond. So again, got a gap up this morning, doing a little collaboration with DoorDash. Gave a nice move up this morning, but then it's kind of chopped here into the close. But again, see if we can take out these highs and get going here on Beyonds. And then DKNG. DKNG, good follow through on this one. We were kind of liking this one. I kind of like this 1, 2. It might be working on a wave 3 right now. So let's see how that goes there for DKNG. Good stuff there. KM, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. AMD, and AMD. Let's take a look. I think you want to look at AMD. So inside day up here, guys. Again, one of the things we got right here is this 1, 2, 3, 4. We talked about this last night, right? We kind of have this 1, 2. We might be in wave 3 of 5. Right, so again, just continue to watch the highs, see if we continue to break out above these levels. Watch this as potential resistance up here. Okay, so good stuff there. And Jack, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. We got Bitcoin on the radar. So Bitcoin, guys, struggling a little bit here with the 200-day moving average and the ABNB. Right, so this has got a big line in the sand, and then you got the macro upper trend line right here, which it's still below. So keep an eye on it. Left this with an inside day here on the futures. Let's see if we try to break above those levels. If not, right, if it breaks down below these guys right here, watch out for Bitcoin. Now, Kathy Wood has just filed a ETF for a Bitcoin ETF, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. So good stuff there. Then you also got PD on the radar. Let's take a look. So PD, again, hanging in here. It could be bull flagging, right? So just kind of keep an eye on it. Inside day down, then back in the range. So let's see if it tries to push out of there. Again, we thought this would pull back a little bit farther, but it seems to have kind of held up here on the ADMA. So see how that holds there. Steven, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at Fate. Yeah, so nice gap up here today. Left you with a bit of an upper shadow off of these prior drop zones right here. So a little bit of caution there. But again, could be a little cup and handle type formant right here. So see if we can get some volume to get out of that range. Tilray, tough name here today. It was on the Paul's radar this morning in the Discord. It didn't make the bubble report, but it gave us a nice push here this morning. So kind of look at it here. It could be a little ABC pullback, right? Kind of like this kind of wave 1 ABC, and then see if it gets going there. Until again, really tricky name unless we get, it just tends to move on like the legalization news. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. And then KM, yeah, AMD, exactly. Let's just see if it keeps going again. Like I said, it might be in wave 3 of 5. It still might give a little bit of a pullback, but maybe a push up, and then maybe if it comes into this resistance level up here around like this 90, 89 area, right? And then maybe pulls back a little bit and then tries to finish up the wave 5. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on there too. And Yaz, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You got Open on the radar. Let's take a look. So Open, nice candle here today. Good volume on Friday, but not a lot here today on Open Door. But definitely something to keep an eye on right here. We got nice little geometric kind of breakout right here. So it could be working on it. Again, I would like to have seen a green candle with some more volume, but definitely something to keep an eye on there too. So good stuff. Bullish bearish trades is going on. So we got Boeing on the radar. Let's take a look. So Boeing, guys, rough day today. It is holding its 50-day moving average. Interestingly enough, the max pain level on Friday was 242.50. And interestingly enough, they couldn't get it there on Friday, but it did get the follow through here today on apparently their 777X with an FAA letter today. So let's see how it holds the 50-day moving average on this one. Plug, let's take a look. So Plug, again, tricky one here until they start to get their books straight. But it is starting to get some volume here after earnings. So let's keep an eye on it, right? Not a lot of volume here today, but see if we can try to get going again. PBR, again, tricky name right here. It gave us a little breakout over this level. It's coming back and retested it. So let's see how that holds. Maybe a push above today's highs could get it going again here on PBR. And then Disney with a rough day today. Disney got to the 50-day moving average on Friday and then came right off of it here today. And it's kind of sandwiched here between the cloud, the 50-day, and the ADMA. So it is above the channel, so that's a good thing. But be careful if it gets back in the channel. It might kind of consolidate and then try to get to the 200-day. So a little bit of caution there too. So good stuff. Steven, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Great chart request tonight, guys. I think you guys are going to enjoy this topic. We got a new, fresh topic talking about greed tomorrow. So be sure to tune in then. And again, really appreciate everybody for tuning in for the chart request. Really great stuff to keep on our radar. So good stuff there. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video. And if you guys follow us on Twitter, be sure to check us out on Twitter for a lot of good morning ideas for the market too. So hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Stay healthy out there and remember your risk first. And